Hello everyone and welcome to the Online Hustle Podcast. Join us in this episode as we sit down with Mark Brown to discover how he turned his YouTube presence into a driving force behind his brands. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Online Hustle Podcast. Today I'm joined by Mark Brown from Editor's Keys and Buckle and Band. Mark, how are you?
Hey, good, thank you. Good to see you.
Hey, thank you so much. I would like to obviously say, I think it's funny the fact this is the second run that we do it.
Yeah.
We had a little bit of complication after filming it the very first time. So I think it's good for our listeners to know that this podcast is not perfect. So it's a work in progress, but I really appreciate you coming back for a second go. And thank you. We're going to rerun through the questions that we had. And we'll see if your answer is just as good as the first time.
Fingers crossed.
Look, for us, the main reason why we wanted you on this podcast is mainly to do with, first of all, your experience in the field. And I know you downplay a little bit, but I consider you someone that has so much experience on YouTube as well. Consider you have two different channels, multiple thousands of subscribers as well, and extremely successful on it. And you've used that platform to create two successful businesses. Now, for us, the main reason was e-commerce is still seen as a very new type of business and one that's ever developing as well. However, knowing that Editor's Keys started in 2005, you have been established for a long while. So I'm guessing you've seen the landscape change quite a lot over the last few years. And we would just love to start with, first of all, how do you describe yourself and what you do? And secondly, how has that journey changed from the start of Editor's Keys to the day today?
Yeah, cool. So I kind of wear a few hats really. So I've got Editor's Keys, which is my, I guess the primary company and the company that started it all. In that company, we make color-coded shortcut keyboards and recording equipment for filmmakers, video editors, TV companies like BBC and ITV. And then we've got Buckle and Band, where we make luxury Apple Watch straps. So one's for fitness, one's for going out, that kind of thing. And then we've got the YouTube side as well, which we do for both businesses. And we use that a lot in our marketing strategy. And then I've got kind of like a personal Tesla channel that I do in my spare time because I just seem to love recording video, really,
Hey, I really love that channel. I love the work you do for reviewing Teslas. And I've seen quite a lot of the comments and reviews that you get. And people are really interested, really into it, asking questions and, slowly getting convinced maybe buying their Tesla or actually using your little tips for their Tesla themselves, which is really, really interesting. There is one particular point when we did the first run that you said about when launching Editor's Keys and getting paid the very first time. Can you run through that process? Because I think, as I said, I'm going to talk about a little bit how spoiled we are maybe as businesses, consumers in e-commerce now. But why don't you run us through what it was like starting Editor's Keys and what it was like selling on websites like eBay?
Yeah, it's so interesting looking back at 2005, when we started Editor's Keys, because to me it doesn't feel that long ago. But when I was thinking about it, ready for this podcast, I took myself back to 2005. It was so different. It was not quite at the very start of the internet, but it was definitely at the start of small e-commerce brands and businesses. And when we very first started, we just had our website, which would cost thousands to build because there was no Shopify and Wix and those type of things like Squarespace. You had to do it yourself with HTML. Internet speeds are extremely slow. And in those days, there was no YouTube, no Twitter, no Facebook for promotion. And the payment method, PayPal, had only just launched a couple of years earlier in the UK. So about probably 70 to 80% of our payments that we were getting on our online store were for check. So people would go on our online store, fill out the order form, print off a sheet with a check, post it to us. That would take a couple of days. We would have to take that to the bank, wait for it to clear, manually check the payment had cleared, and then we would send out their item because at the time people, is PayPal a scam? Is it going to work? So it's crazy to think how far we've come in that time where we've gone from doing e-commerce, but doing it through check, and then PayPal, and then doing eBay, which was a big part of the journey for us to begin with. And then to where we are now, where you've got all these social platforms, you can promote to all different kinds of people, you can create video, and it's all very accessible. Back in those days, as I say, even creating a website would cost you thousands, if not tens of thousands. Just even for the updates every year you had to do to Magento that we were using at the time. It was a nightmare, to be honest, but all good fun.
Amazing. Just out of curiosity, how often did you actually go and cash in these checks back in the day?
Oh, God. So it was probably, I would say, every 3 days to begin with.
Wow.
But then the problem was that different banks would take different times to clear. You know, so if you sent me a check from Nationwide, that would clear faster than a check from Barclays at the time for some reason. So it got to the point where customers would be like, I've sent my check a week ago, and you'd have to say, well, it still hasn't cleared. So we did start to go every day at lunchtime, just pop a couple in. But this was the other thing as well. Every time you put a check in the bank, it cost us 50 pence. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but back in 2005, when we were selling products for £10, it's a big chunk of your business.
Imagine,
yeah. And you've got to physically go somewhere and do it yourself. So you're wasting not wasting your time, but you're taking a lot of time out of your business to put these checks in, and sometimes they might bounce. So compare that to now. It seems pretty easy with all of the tools we've got in place to take payments, and how easy it is,
Absolutely. And sorry, just still so curious about that. At the shipment side of things, you had to wait until the check cleared. How would you know that the check was cleared to then actually make the shipment?
So if I remember, I think each check had a reference number on it. So, sorry, not the check. The person would send you the check, and you would have this little book where you would actually physically have to write out each person's name, the amount, the next one, the amount, and so you'd get these little reference numbers. So you would have to kind of then go back, pair the £10, £20 that we'd made to that reference number, and then check it actually dropped into the bank account. At that time as well, there was no online banking either. So you had to go to the bank, print out a little mini statement to check as well. So it didn't feel like a hassle at the time, but when I think back and imagining having to do that now, it would be a nightmare. But at the time, it still felt very futuristic that we could even just get people to pay without seeing us, meeting us, speaking to us. So for the young listeners, they don't know how good they've got it now.
Yeah, no, it's a point that I will reiterate later about maybe consumerism now. But I want to shift from that amazing story of the start of e-commerce, and particularly your business with Editor's Keys. I want to shift towards YouTube. And you told me how passionate you are towards content creation itself anyway. And we've seen the success that you've had. But how does YouTube and its marketing strategy play part in your businesses right now?
It's a huge part, probably the main part of our business, really. So we spend a lot of time creating content. And what we try and do, first of all, is instead of just producing adverts that go out online promoting Editor's Keys or Buckle and Band, we try and produce content that is informational or educational. So in terms of Editor's Keys, rather than just doing an advert about our Photoshop keyboard, we actually do little tutorials on how you can use Photoshop and how you can get started. Maybe it's the first time you've picked up Photoshop. We maybe have a beginner's video or a pro video to maybe chop something out of an image. So we do those kinds of videos for both companies for a few reasons, really. I think one, it feels more authentic. We're not asking people just to buy from us. We're trying to build that trust. We secondly get an audience that comes back. If you are a company and you're putting out ads on YouTube, first of all, people don't go to YouTube to watch ads. They go to be entertained or learn something. And then secondly, if you are the type of company that's putting out an advert, do you think someone's going to subscribe to you and come back time and time again to watch an advert? They're probably not. So by putting out this informational and educational content, we're helping people. They come back time and time again. Then maybe 1 in every 10 videos, or maybe 2, we say, okay, check out this product that we've got here. This could also help you edit, and it's a legitimate tie-in with the video as well. So it works really, really well for us. We find it builds a lot of trust in the system. And we've now got 155,000 subscribers. Amazing. And about 80% of all of our business comes through YouTube. So it's incredible, really. And this is the thing, I know people think it's a lot of effort to get into YouTube, but I think, again, back to the 2005 days, if I wanted to get out video content, the only option was TV adverts and that was 30,000, 40,000 an advert. I remember I was looking at the time. It was crazy. Now you can pick up your iPhone, you can film, you can upload for free, you can get it in front of your audience for free. It's just your time. So anyone who's got a business out there, if you're starting out, if you've already got one, definitely think about doing YouTube video, because it's an incredible thing to do for your business.
Amazing. Great input. Stick to YouTube. Every time I go and watch one of your videos, whether it's for Editors Keys or your own personal account talking about your Tesla, every time I watch a video, there is it's very likely that I get a buckle and band advertisement on the side of the video, and obviously the sizing of the imaging is actually quite big as well. So I'm directly drawn to it. How has that been set up, and how targeted do you think that is? And I know that you already said that 80% of your advertising comes from YouTube anyway. How effective has that been, really?
Yeah, it's really good. So first of all, on those little ads you see, there's kind of two ways you can do YouTube advertising. The first is you can pay for it, and you can go into Google Ads, and you can say, post this video to people who have been searching for, let's say, the Apple Watch bands. People who have been searching for Apple Watch reviews or Apple Watch tips, display them this video ad. Now we do that, but to be honest, a lot of the ones you'll be seeing there with the little product image on the underneath and to the side, that's actually a free part of YouTube that I don't think a lot of business owners know about. And when you have a YouTube channel, and I think you still need over 1,000 subscribers to start doing this, but you can actually plug in your Shopify store or any kind of website, add your products, and then you can tag your products below and to the side of your videos, and that's completely free. So whilst we're doing a buckle and band Apple Watch tutorial, maybe tips and tricks for your fitness, if you watch that video, like you say, you will then see our products sitting below that video to the side, and that's completely free. So for us, it's incredible. You've got YouTube, the second largest search engine in the world. Someone finding us for an Apple Watch tip. We're the people giving the tip, and then underneath that, they're also being displayed our Apple Watch straps. So for us, that's incredible. And that, as I say, that's the free version that anyone can set up within the YouTube. So if you're an e-commerce business doing products, definitely add that, because you can't lose. It's free to do. It doesn't cost you per click, and it looks pretty good as well. I think it's a nice little addition they've added there.
Yeah, no. First of all, that's a great tip. First of all, because I actually didn't know it was for free. It just shows you that I think it's a massive opportunity for businesses such as e-commerce business to be part of that e-commerce part and actually do the content creation through YouTube. And as you said, and as I've already mentioned, it did look great. Like it almost felt like being on your website, on the Buckle and Band website, looking at products, but at the same time, there's a video of you talking about Tesla, which is a great combination. I thought that's a really, really good tip. Keeping on that social media side of things, and I think everyone's talking about this, how much have you seen a shift towards TikTok and shorter content for business as well?
Yeah, so TikTok's one of those ones where it's good for us because, we already do video content, so we can, to begin with, we could chop up some clips and move over there. But I do think TikTok is quite powerful. We set up TikTok for Editors Keys and didn't have a huge amount of success with that. So when we came to Buckle and Band and we thought, should we do TikTok? I knew we should do it, and we were always going to give it a go. But the Buckle and Band TikTok channel has been doing really, really well. We changed how we film things a little bit. So for Editors Keys and the official Buckle and Band YouTube, we film with a really good camera, write some really nice scripts. It's quite a lengthy video. For TikTok, we tend to film it just on the iPhone, and it's these little quick, short, sharp Apple Watch tips. And some of those videos, bearing in mind, the channel's only been going for a few months, have like 1.5 million views. We've got another with 1.3 million, a million. So with barely any followers on TikTok, you can really get your products out to a huge audience. And arguably, it's even a lot easier to do than YouTube, because you can just get your iPhone out, film two or three lines of text, and tips, And it's incredible the reach that TikTok has. Now, in terms of the sales, I don't think it pulls in for us the same amount of sales as YouTube does, because I think, you've been on TikTok, how fast people scroll through, it's you're not in quite the same headspace as YouTube, where you're sitting down and you're learning something for maybe 3 to 10 minutes. TikTok, you're kind of on to the next. But still, I see it as a branding exercise. We're still getting our products, our brand name out there to millions of people. And again, it doesn't cost anything. I think that's the key thing. If you're struggling in your small business, or you want to get started, you always think you need a huge marketing budget. And I think it's incredible these days that we have these tools that are free. It's just your time, So I really do think that anyone who's got a small business should get started with these tools and start doing organic content.
Amazing. Now that we've looked into the YouTube side of things, I kind of want to go back to the eBay side of things. And I know that's where you started, but I know that's where a lot of your business is based as well, because simply by looking at your the Editor's Keys page on eBay, over 21,000 items sold, with a seller feedback of between 11,429 ratings, and amazingly 100% positive feedback. Now, I know a lot of businesses and a lot of my clients selling on Amazon, selling throughout their own website, on Trustpilot, they would, cry to have that sort of feedback. And I think it would be an amazing tip to kind of go through the motions on how you've achieved that reliability and kept that 100% feedback on eBay.
Yeah, so eBay for us was really the first marketplace that we could use back in 2005. So we've been there really from the start of eBay. And in those days, when you had a website, it was quite hard to get traffic unless you're doing Google Ads. So eBay was a great place for us to get started, because you just had millions of customers, and there weren't other websites like Facebook Marketplace and those type of things about. So eBay was the place that everybody went to, and we didn't really have many competitors. So it was good if someone wanted a Photoshop keyboard or a Final Cut keyboard, that kind of thing. We were generally kind of near the top of the results. And it was funny, back in those days, eBay didn't have any system to stop spelling mistakes and things like that. So I was just thinking then, I remember getting like Nokia phones cheap because you just type in the misspelling and no one would fit on it. But, so yeah, eBay's been fantastic for us, and the feedback, it's what we try and do, and we do this online as well, is try to do the follow-up, so that everyone is happy. Because I think in any business, and this goes for the online side as well, on the website, you're going to have people who order the wrong product, or it's not quite right for them, or they struggle to set the product up. So I think if you can just follow up, just a simple email, and it could be automated as well these days, just that says, hey, John, got your product, just check you're happy. Is there anything we can help you with? That goes a long way, because you'd be surprised by how many people will leave you negative feedback and not email you first. And we still, of course, we still get that occasionally, but I think if they can see that you've been trying to help them before that happens, they're even more likely to take that negative feedback down if they understand you're a genuinely good small business. So, we, for the start, so when we send a product out, we ensure that everything is packaged really nicely. So with the buckle and band products, for example, every single buckle and band product comes with a handwritten note. So we pack it up. It comes in some nice kind of tissue paper that's buckle and band branded, gold leaf stamp on it. It's put into a box with a handwritten note. And so when the customer gets it, already they should be feeling good about the product even before they've opened the product box. They get it and they're like, wow, this company cares about me. They open it up. The product's good, of course, good quality product. And then they're greeted with these 2 or 3 emails that just really follow them up. Hope you're well. Here's how you can set it up. Maybe here's a video again that we've done. Here's how you can set up your keyboard or your product. And then a couple of days later, hey, John, you've had your product for 2 or 3 days now. We're just checking in, and hopefully everything's okay. You don't worry about getting back to us, but if there's anything you need, please do ask. And that's as simple as that. That is really just making sure that everyone is happy with their product, and if they're not, getting it back. I think there's quite a few people out there who customer service is at the bottom of their list, and we mentioned it last time, but what rubs me up the wrong way is I think there's this culture at the moment especially when it comes to drop shipping. If you go on YouTube, you'll see these drop shippers pop up. And I have nothing against drop shipping. It can be quite a good business model. But a lot of these so-called experts will tell you to just buy a product, cheapest product you can find with the biggest margin, plonk it on your site or eBay, and then get this company in China to send it out. And the problem with that is right from the very start, number one, you don't have a brand. Number two, you're not really caring about how the thing turns up. How is it packaged? Is it just in a jiffy bag that's all grubby and dirty when they get it? Is it actually the same quality product as that image? Probably not. Will it be there next day or 2 to 3 days? Definitely not. It will probably take 2 to 3 weeks. And let's be honest, the product will probably be quite crappy when it arrives. So if someone's focus is solely on that element of just getting the little margin, $50 here and there, they're going to fail on all aspects because, I've tried drop shipping, to be honest, back in the early days. I tried it, and if you get the wrong product, it's quite hard to come back from 10 negative reviews. When you're starting out, and I would say this goes for an established business as well. If you're just trying to cheap out on your customer service or the packaging and things like that, if you are unlucky enough to get 2, 3, 5, 10 negative reviews, and you only had 11 reviews that month, you're suddenly banned now from these platforms like eBay and Amazon. So you really have got to take good care of your customer service.
Amazing. Yeah, I think there's a couple of great points here. First of all, from experience on the drop shipping side of things, you're absolutely right. Where I think as a consumer myself, I've become increasingly more spoiled as well with Amazon and Amazon Prime as well, right? I want my product, I write my impulse buy, I want my product the next day. So I think dropshipping itself has this disadvantage towards your customer that's increasingly more spoiled and wants the product as soon as possible anyway. So if you're just thinking about the margin, you keep forgetting about the customer service side of things, which is, from your expertise and from your results, it's clearly a very, very important side of things. What I wanted to talk about after that is, I think it's different for e-commerce businesses to keep up that good customer satisfaction sort of work. You talk about having personalized work. However, I see that you've also mentioned about the automation side of things and how important that is. How do you think over the last few years that has changed your business, and where do you think it's going? Because I know you mentioned having a live chat on both your e-commerce websites.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, automation is something that I always try and look at. Really, we when we started as Keys, me and just a couple of other people would pick and pack every order that went out, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it takes a lot of time out of your day. So now we've gone to using a fulfillment center called Fulfillment Crowd. So essentially, to anyone new to fulfillment, what happens is, this is a third-party company. You basically send your products to them. It plugs in with your Shopify store, can plug in with eBay and Amazon too. And then when you get an order through, it basically is sent to the warehouse. They check the payment's been made. Then they will pick and pack and send out your item for a fee. Now, the storage costs are usually a lot higher than your own office, for example. But I find how you can kind of combat that is, these companies usually can get shipping a lot cheaper than you can. So what we found when we first went over was, I was thinking, wow, this storage is super expensive. But at the time, we were maybe paying, say, £6 for a DPD package to the UK. They could get it for £4. And to America, we could ship a keyboard for £28. They could do it for £16, which is quite a big difference. So not only was it speeding up our business, automating it, if our team were ill or if we went to a trade show, in the past, we couldn't send that order out. We had to do a message on the site that said, order will be shipped in 5 days. Now, throughout Christmas season, throughout holidays, through sicknesses, all of our products are going out automatically for Editor's Keys, which is fantastic. And then in terms of like how I see it going, we're really looking at ChatGPT and that side of AI, because one, I'm really interested in tech and that kind of stuff fascinates me anyway. But we've been playing around with that for the website, because before ChatGPT, you could have these kind of chatbots on your site, but they would be these really annoying ones. If you've ever been to your electricity provider or phone provider and you get that little box that pops up, it very rarely gives you the answer that you want. It may come up with track my order or account details. You click track my order. You're going on there probably because your order's missing, and it doesn't really have any contact info or any relevance to finding your order. If you want to maybe find out about the nuanced stuff of a product, again, that's not going to be on there. Maybe the dimensions of a product, often that's not on there. So with ChatGPT and some of these plugins, we're using ZipChat and Chatbase, each one on each site to see which works best. And what you can essentially do is plug in your entire website, paste it with your FAQ section of your website, emails that you may have sent to customers, dimensions of products, you just chuck it all in. And then because it's like almost like a human language model, now when someone comes on our site, they can say, will this fit my keyboard? Just that. And because the chat bot knows they're on this page, it responds based on that product and says, hey, what do you have, a Mac or a PC? The person says, I've got a Mac. Okay, fantastic. Do you know if it's a 2018 or a 2019? 2018. And it gives them a really conversational reply. So it does feel like a human. There's been people on our site who said they would, because we call it Julia. So there's people that's like, oh, I've chatted to Julia online, and they don't even know it's a chat bot because it's that friendly. We have a tone which is friendly and humorous as well, so it can joke with them and stuff. So I see that as a real help. Also with the ChatGPT stuff, we use it to help with a lot of our social media content. I'll still write a lot of the scripts myself, but if you're just looking for 20 ideas, right, for TikTok, let's say, we were talking about that earlier, and you're stuck, you're like, I don't know, where do I start? You can say to ChatGPT, I've got business X, our customers are these type of people into fitness, for example, and I think the problem that they may face is that they're trying to get fit and they don't know how. So give me 20 ideas for an outline of a video, and ChatGPT will give you 20 ideas. You can even then go back in and say, I like idea 2, write me a 15-second script for TikTok, and it will write you a 15-second script for TikTok. Now, you will want to go in and maybe edit it a little bit, but we're just using that to kind of maybe triple our content that we're putting out. We're using it to rewrite some older blogs to make them relevant for 2023. So I'm finding that side of AI is really helping the automation process.
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, there's so many multiple uses on a personal basis when it comes to social media, especially. It kind of gives you a base. It's really good to kind of give you that idea, set up base. The proofreading becomes really important because obviously you want to adapt to the way you want it. But the base that ChatGPT is giving you is really, really essential. I think it's helping all content creators out, and I'm glad that you're using it as well for many ideas. I want to shift towards the business side of things again. And I've seen on the website that you've been a multiple award-winning business. I think the 2019, which one was it, on eBay? Innovative Seller, I believe.
Yeah, Innovation Seller of the Year at eBay Awards. That was quite a nice one, to be honest. Yeah, went to a nice big celebration at eBay in London, and it looked after us, treated us well. So it was, really nice.
Amazing. And what does those awards actually mean to you and Editor's Keys, and how do you think that actually affects the business?
So I think I have a few thoughts about awards, and I think before we'd ever won an award, I thought if we win an award, that's going to send our business to the stratosphere, and we're going to just be crazy. And so that was the first thing I think I was surprised by, that when we won our first award or so, it didn't really make that much difference to the business. But I think when I took a step back, there's a few things that I do like about it, that it did change. One, I think as a small business owner, you don't have anyone above you is like a boss. I mean, so usually when you have a regular job with a boss, I actually love the fact that you have someone on your back asking you what you're doing next, pushing you to go further, checking you're doing your work properly. When you're a small business owner, you don't have that. And to begin with, that seems fantastic and almost like the dream. But there are periods for your business where you do need a bit of mentorship, or just you don't have anyone saying, well done, patting you on the back. So winning an award, I felt for the first time actually increased my spirits a little bit. It was like, well, maybe we are doing something right. Maybe I am going the right way. We all have these doubts that,
Absolutely.
that we're not doing the right thing. It may look good on Instagram and social media, but the amount of times I've been sitting there thinking, is this the right thing to do, or why am I not here? I can see my other peers in the industry, they're there, and I'm like here, I'm failing. So having the awards really, I think, helps your self-esteem a little bit as a business person. And then on the trust side of things, in terms of the sales, although it didn't bring in tons of sales, I think again it just adds to that accountability, the trust section to your site. So if you have a site with no reviews, no awards, no videos, I think people will have their backup and like, can I trust this company? But if you have good reviews and you have some videos where you or your staff are on camera, and then you have awards as well, it's just ticking the box for the customer to say, this is a company that I can trust. They're on camera, they're not afraid to hide. The feedback looks really, really good from Trustpilot. Wow, they've won this award, and it's from eBay. It's sort of other people telling the customer that the business is good. So from that side of things, I think awards are good things that you should enter. And I guess they can change your business in some ways, but for me, it was more of a mental thing they changed for me, or a trust score that they gave the customer, which I think are both really good things.
That's really, really good. Good, positive to hear. Let me shift back to the YouTube side of things, and I think I want to go more on the advisory side of things. There's an old saying that I still believe in, is that people buy from people, right? And I think that's what content creation for you has played a massive part in the success of Editors Keys and Buckle and Bag. Now, what would the advice be for a brand new business, young entrepreneurs that are attempting to use not just YouTube, but content creation as a powerful advertising tool?
So I would definitely recommend, first of all, that anyone who is thinking about doing it to definitely go ahead and do it. And I think it can be overwhelming. You look at people with channels or TikTok profiles and things with hundreds of videos, and you're like, where do I start? But I would start right at the beginning. Just use your iPhone. You don't need like crazy great equipment. Just get some okay cheap lighting, your iPhone, a tripod, and then just think of just 10 small videos. Maybe start on TikTok because it's the easiest one to get started on. What could you say to your customers, ideal customer, that would help them today or help them with a question? So I always say, think of YouTube like this. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world after Google, and it's owned by Google. And people are going on YouTube today. Your customers are going on YouTube today, and they're looking for answers to questions they might have. It could be things like how to fix the dishwasher, to how to set up an Apple Watch, to how to do this. If you think of your industry, there will be people searching for queries to do with your business. So I would have a look, even look at some other people's channels, look at the views they get, and think of 10 topics that you could just talk about that you already know about. You probably don't have to do much research about. Really, really simple things right from the beginning stages. And do little videos on those. Do 10, record 10 in one sitting if you can, or 2 sittings. Just so you've got a video you can post every other day. And then that gives you a couple of weeks worth of content there. And it just gets you started. You'll start to get the odd comment, the odd subscriber, and it can really help you think, actually, this isn't that hard to do. But as I say, you've got people asking these questions. It's important that you become the answer to those questions. You become the trusted source in the industry. And they may not buy off you that day, but trust me, in 6 months' time, when they've seen 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of your videos, 100 of your videos, hopefully, you're going to be the first person that springs to mind when they need that tax advice, when they need that Apple Watch strap, when they need, the new dishwasher going in, whatever it may be. Yeah. So, get started straight away, and don't worry too much about the equipment. I know a lot of people do.
I think that's a great point. Just to add to that, I think, especially for someone starting up, it's the reliability side of things. It's hard to keep that constant content up. And especially if you see a little bit of success and the next video isn't, I could see that being quite a little bit of an emotional roller coaster. How do you normally deal with that, knowing that this video was amazing and the next one wasn't?
Yeah, we were talking about that this morning actually in the office, and it's so frustrating because especially on Editors Keys, we will have videos where we have to, if it's say camera review or something, if we were reviewing a new Sony camera or GoPro, we'll actually have to go out and film with that loads of footage to be able to review it. So there's some videos where we spend weeks on, we'll script them, we'll film with them, it doesn't work out, you go film again. You have to drive to locations that can take hours out of your time, and then you've got hours and hours, days of editing. And sometimes the videos just flop. You put it up and you get 100 views. We've done videos that, I think I did a video, it was like during COVID, and I thought, should I bother doing this? It was like how to clean a MacBook Pro screen, right? Just the most boring video. I filmed it on the iPhone, it was wobbly as hell, and did this video. And it was, it's like one of our top performing videos of all time. It's crazy how it works. I did it in like 10 seconds. So it can be a bit, I think, especially in the early stages, when you spend some time doing some video, and trust me, you'll mess up, you'll forget your words, you'll not hit the record button, all these kind of things happen. It'll be frustrating, right? But put those videos out there, and it's like a snowball effect. Your first video is never going to get you 100,000 subscribers. Your second video isn't. It's that 200th video that will begin, almost sort of where people come back for more. It's a bit like Netflix, right? I mean, imagine you had a Netflix show and you put up one show. No one's going to add it to their list because there's the one show. I don't need to come back. If there's 20 episodes in your show, and you've only got time to watch one, that's when people are going to subscribe, because they'll be like, I like this guy. I'm going to come back for this. Let me just save that. And it's kind of what the subscribe button is, really. It's like a save button. It's so people can come back to you at a later stage. And for that to happen, you need all the multiple bits of content. But I would actually say now, because we've kind of gone in reverse, we started with YouTube and now do TikTok. But I would start with TikTok. I would come up with really short videos, 10 ideas, because you can do them in 30 seconds a pop of video, and then look at those 10, put the 10 out, the top performing one out of those 10, make that into a longer tail YouTube video, because that one has hit the spot or it works. So
I would say, yeah,
that's what I would probably do now. It's not a strategy that we did because we did YouTube first, but I think strategy of testing out your shorts, your TikToks, Instagram Reels, do 10, 20, see which one performs best, and then make that into a longer tail YouTube video, blog post, that kind of thing.
Amazing. And I think that kind of touches on my next question. I think those tips were really good about starting on TikTok, getting the best one and changing that into a YouTube video, because you can see there is interest behind it. But I think that it correlates directly to the next question, where do you think, because obviously you've seen such growth and difference over the last 15 to 18 years that Editors Keys has been active. How do you think the YouTube space is really going to affect your business for the years to come? I know it's hard to predict, but how do you think it could possibly change even further?
I think it's difficult to say. I do think YouTube is great because it's what you call is like evergreen. I think one problem with TikTok, Instagram is that, yes, they may get you a hit today and views today, but they disappear. In a week's time, your Instagram post is sort of buried. What I like about YouTube is that it's almost like a library of content. So if you post a video about how to fix your dishwasher at home, with a simple trick, people are going to be searching for that in August, in September, in December, in 2024, 2026. They're still going to be searching for it, and you can still rank. And that's one important key thing I'd say about YouTube over the rest, is that it's easy to get a bit down on this video only got 200 views. But we actually had a video the other day that we did put a lot of work into. I think it was something to do, it was like some sort of camera trick video. Spent a lot of time doing it. It got 200-300 views, barely anything, and we've got 150,000 subscribers. So it was really, really failed video in our terms of our channel. It was on the channel for about a year, and then all of a sudden we looked at the graph, it's just peaked up. And sometimes you get it where something happens, during COVID that happened. I think we did some videos a few years ago on how to improve video call quality. That video flopped, but COVID happened, everyone's at home doing video calls, and that video just suddenly pops off.
Yeah.
So as long as the video is evergreen, something that people can search for in a year's time, in 2 years' time, I think that's where you can really get great success in YouTube. And that's something that we try and focus on, because we're in the tech industry, we do have to concentrate on news, but we do try and focus on videos that will still do well in 5-10 years' time. So yeah, to answer your question, I don't really know in terms of YouTube.
It's hard to predict.
It's hard to predict.
Yeah.
But I don't think it will ever be bad for us. I don't think us having, say, 100 videos today and then 200 videos by next year will ever be a bad thing, because we can always turn those into blog posts. We can chop them down into social media clips. So if a new social media platform pops up, like Threads, for example, we've got a bank of content that we can just chuck up onto that platform now without thinking about it too much. So yeah, I think it's always going to be good for business and personal brands and everything else as well.
Yeah, it's really funny you say that, because I think my favorite video that you've done on your personal channel is the video that you did driving from Manchester to Cornwall with your Tesla, which I thought is really, really good content. And I rewatched it the other day, and I think that's around 2-year-old video now, if I'm not wrong. And the main reason I watched that, one is because, yes, very entertaining video, and I think it gives a lot of perspective on what it is like owning a Tesla. And secondly, the most important question, should I buy one? And I know that you're going to be a little bit more biased on this, but I know that you now have the expertise with the YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, I think definitely buy a Tesla. Definitely. I think you'll enjoy it. It's whatever you like about cars. And I've said this to my wife, I don't think that the Tesla is the best looking car of all time. It's all right looking, but I've got the Model 3. But, it's like the fastest car I've ever had. It's definitely the most comfortable car I've ever had. It's storage is great. It can drive itself. So on a long journey, I live in Manchester, but my family are in Norfolk, and my wife's family are in Middlesbrough and Chichester. It takes a lot of stress out of the driving. The tech, I'm a big tech head, so the fact that it's just minimal and just has one screen, I love that. It's so simple. Speaker system's fantastic. It's cheap to run as well. I've never had a problem with it. You don't need to really service it. The only thing I've had to do is change tires on it. But I see very little downsides, and it's a good car. So I think, definitely treat yourself.
Amazing. The only tip that I want to give, I kind of ask on this one, is how important is having that home charger? Because I've seen, and I've had feedback from other people where amazing having a home charger makes a massive difference, because actually using one of those superchargers on the motorway is not necessarily the cheapest.
So I actually don't have a home charger. I've had the car for over 2 years, and I still don't have one. When I got the car, we weren't sure how long we were going to be in our sort of current house for. And because we're in sort of like a terraced cottage, really, and to put the charger in, we don't have a driveway. We would have had to dig up the entire front garden, which is very narrow, but it's quite long, and put this post up. And I think they quoted about sort of 10-15 grand to do the whole job. So I just thought, well, it's just not. We're going to move in a year. It's not really worth it. So for me, it wasn't too bad. When I got the car, actually all the public chargers in Manchester were completely free. Hardly anyone had an electric car, so they were never busy. It has changed a little bit. None of them are free anymore. They are getting a lot busier. But to be honest, it's not been too bad, because they have these chargers at supermarkets. I tend to just, when we go to the supermarket, just plug it in there, I do my shopping, and then I come out and it's like up to 80%. So it honestly hasn't been too much of an issue. And even the electric is definitely gone up a lot. It's probably more than triple from when I got the car. It's still a little bit cheaper than petrol. So not too bad. I mean, obviously, I think if you can get a home charger, definitely do it, because you'll always wake up with a full tank of fuel, essentially. So in the next house, I'm definitely going to put one in. But, I survived okay with that one.
Amazing. Great tip. I really appreciate that. Right. We'll go to the final section of our podcast that, and I call it Believe It or Not. Right. I've asked my guests on a picture of yourselves 10 years ago, which is the year 2013. So the picture that you provided, you are sat in a big keg having a pint of Bulmers, which is a very British cider. And the overall title of the section is Believe It or Not, the year 2013 was 10 years ago. It might just show our age, but 2013 does feel like yesterday. If there's an advice that you would give to that Mark that sat in that keg having that drink, what would that be? And that advice cannot be investing in crypto because that would be cheating.
That would be definitely what I would have done. Yeah, I when I looked at that photo, I thought, wow, but that is crazy how quick that time has gone past. 10 years just feels like nothing, which is crazy. I think the advice I would give myself is to maybe ask around for a little bit more help and advice and mentorship from people. I think back then, entrepreneurship, even 10 years ago, wasn't quite as popular as it is now. I think there was this bravado you had to have, like, oh, I'm doing my own business, I know exactly what I'm doing, and just like brag that you're doing really well somehow to be taken seriously, which was bad really, because all it meant was that you didn't really speak to anyone about the problems of business. You didn't really ask for much advice. And you know, I'm not completely close to doing that. It was just, I think before all the business podcasts like this one came out, you didn't really have anywhere to turn. And I think you expected every other business person to be the same and not want to help you and keep secrets to themselves. So I think my advice would be to that 2013 Mark and to myself now and other new business people is kind of ask for advice. You know, step one, listen to as many business podcasts like this as you can. That really helps because you're getting that insider advice. And secondly, if you can, go to like a networking event or speak to people who run sort of similar businesses to you, or at least other e-commerce businesses like I do. Because what you'll find is that business people actually love talking about business because most of their friends and family aren't into business, so they have no one to chew their fat with, you know. So me and you can talk about business all day long. I've got a couple of other friends in business, and we love talking about the nerdy stuff, like the how to get more sales, the little tips and hacks, and another business person I think as well can look at your business and like you can do with theirs with fresh eyes and say, why have you done that thing there? I would change that. That looks a bit odd. And as soon as they say that, you're like, wow, and just never saw that because you're the one, you're in it so much, you don't notice some of your own business mistakes. So I think, yeah, my advice then would have been to ask for more advice, ask for a bit more mentorship, because there's nothing wrong with it, and it definitely helps. And it's a good feeling when you speak to other business people as well. I think it really would have propelled the business faster, quicker. You know, we would have been more agile 10 years ago than we even are now. So yeah, ask for a bit of advice here and there.
I really, really appreciate that. And I do hope this podcast achieves what you're talking about. And I do agree. I think that there was a little bit of skepticism of being open about business because he felt like very competitive, even though you were in the same field. But I think there's so much more content, a lot more people are more outspoken these days, which is very positive for business. And I completely agree. The networking opportunities that you get to meet amazing people by doing so. So it's something that I really highly recommend. Mark, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for doing this with us again. First of all, how can anyone interested in your YouTube, in your products, get in touch with you or follow you?
Yeah, so I've got quite a few links to spam you with here, but if you're into editing, filmmaking, check out editorskeys.com for the Editor's Keys gear. If you own an Apple Watch, head to buckleandband.com for Apple Watch straps. And then in terms of YouTube, all quite simple, but it's youtube.com/editorskeys for editing tutorials, youtube.com/buckleandband for Apple Watch tips and tricks. And then if you do want to check out the personal channel, which is kind of about Tesla, if you are interested in electric cars or Teslas, that's youtube.com/mbrown. And to be honest, I am on Twitter and Instagram as well, but I'd say YouTube is where I spend most of my time, so it's probably the easiest place to get hold of me. But yeah, you can reach me on the other channels as well.
Just to correct you, it's called X now, not Twitter.
I keep saying that.
Keep doing that. I think it's going to be hard to get it out there. It's hard to say, oh, I X'd something this morning, so I'm sure that will change soon. But
Doesn't sound right, does it?
thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you, Mark, and thank you again.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Been great to be on here.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Online Hustle Podcast. We hope you found the conversation insightful and inspiring. If you'd like to connect with our guests or learn more about their work, you can find their contact details in the episode description below. Stay in the loop with us, following us at the Online Hustle Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. And remember, if you're looking for an expert guidance on e-commerce or have questions for our strategy and growth team, you can reach out to us via our website at strategy.avarsgroup.com or drop us a simple email at strategy@avarsgroup.com. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes where we continue to unravel the strategies that drive online success.